Hey, do you need wallpaper? Go to wallpaperboulevard.com. Give them my name, tell them Spencer Colgan sent you, and they'll be sure to give you 10% off at checkout. Check it out. Tell them I said hello. They have a tremendous selection. Don't shop anywhere else until you've checked out www.wallpaperboulevard.com. Hey, this is Spencer Colgan from Spencer Colgan is Wallpaper and Painting too. Today I'm painting louver doors, bifold doors. Take a look at the doors. You see these? So when I was a kid, we would paint them with a brush. These have a semi-gloss finish on them. As I'm talking, I will work. I'm going to create a surface that is agreeable to a new coat of paint. I don't care if you're putting flat paint on this door. Scuff it up. What you're doing is making scratches in the paint. I'm using a fine grit sanding sponge and I'm scratching the paint so that the next layer sticks to this surface. What primer does to a surface is to make the next coat of paint stick. This doesn't take the place of primer in every aspect of what primer does, but this is certainly one of the things that primer does. It makes the surface agreeable to a new coat of paint. So you're making keys in the surface. If you ever watch a stucco guy do stucco, his first coat will have all grooves in it, keys. Scratch and Brown, Kirk Giordano, plastering. Same idea. As cement, the second layer of cement plaster goes on a keyed up first coat, so too does a second application of paint go onto a keyed up surface when you're painting. So I'm making little scratches. And this is a sanding surface, and so is this. So I'm getting the edges of these louvers while I'm doing this. Now, when I was a kid, we had tack cloth. We still do. But if you have a compressor handy and a little adapter to blow air, you could also get into the nooks and crannies of this door and blow the air out. Certainly better than a tack cloth, because I won't be able to tack up the dust that gets into these little grooves. So here's what I'll do. I just have a leaf blower handy, and what I'll do is blow it off. And you can see the dust fly off. I'll hit that again before I paint it, and then we'll show you what the next step is. Okay, I'll see you on the next frame. La-dee-dee. Okay. On the back of every can of paint is your information regarding how to clean up afterwards, depending on the content of the paint, and also sprayer tip information and pressure, as you can see here. I'm going to be using a Graco 395 which is your baseline sprayer for professional painters. It's a good machine. If I'm spraying from a 1 gallon bucket, I'm going to put it in a 5 gallon bucket to increase the center of gravity so that there's no tipping. Okay, I'm going to void the contents of my sprayer, get the lubricant out so that I can purge those impurities out of the system that are there for storage so that I can draw my paint into my sprayer. I have the primer facing down. I'm going to prime the system now. I'm going to get out all of the paint fluid, which is the lubricant. Okay, for this project I'm using a fine finish tip. It's the green ones, low pressure LP. Okay, since we're outdoors and we're on my property, I'm going to purge the system right into the soil. And I'm going to stop when I start drawing paint. Come on now. This is all of the water that's in my hose. There's 50 feet of hose here, okay? Okay, we're starting to draw paint. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. Let's get to work. I'm coming over to my doors and I'm just going to blow them off one more time because we're outdoors. And, you know, anything can fall on the doors. After all, it is fall. No pun intended. My helper is over here sanding the other set of doors. It's very important that you actually do these steps. Okay? Let's get to work and let's create a beautiful finish on these doors. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it 2 coats. I'm going to give it a mist coat for the paint to stick on. I'm not going to overwhelm the surface. I'm going to spray on a thin coat and it's going to dry very quickly. I'll do the same over here and then we'll put our finish coat on. I've reduced my pressure to about 1800. Just a light coat. I'm a lefty. I'm holding the hose 5 feet away with my right hand so that I'm not snagged up by the ground or stepping on it. My left hand is fully extended from my right so that the hose doesn't touch the surface. If you're spraying outdoors, not absolutely necessary that you wear a mask, provided of course that you're upwind from the direction toward which the spray is going, right? When I was in the police, whenever we were dealing with chemical, when chemicals became a weapon of choice for the terrorists who became involved with the New York City 9/11. After that, there was a lot of training. And one of the things that were on all of the promotional exams was, where do you stand from a potential chemical attack? And it was always upwind. Same reason we stand upwind from this chemical, okay? So if you're standing upwind from it, where would I start? If I start here and I start going down here and the wind starts blowing, it's going to go in my face. So I'm going to start here. You can stay right there. Nice light coat. I start off of the door. I don't want to start on the door. I'll tell you why when I get up there. Okay, I held my sprayer about 15 inches away from the surface. Usually it's 12 inches. But I felt like my pressure was too high, so I pulled back. It's just a mist coat. I'm going to let this dry. It should be ready in 15 minutes. Question is, do you sand in between coats? If you really want a good finish, you will let this dry to the extent where you can take fine sandpaper, and I'm talking 200 and above. I have some 500 and 600 in my truck. I might run a pass of that. It's for getting out smudges on a semi-gloss surface. You can barely tell it's sandpaper, but it still does the trick. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, I asked you a question and I said that I would answer it, but I forgot what the question was, so I'll get back to it on the next frame. See you in the next one. So my helper told me what the question was that I forgot. So you start off of the project if you can. You can't always start off of the project. Because when you have an extension, and I have an extension, 10-inch extension, this is not part of the sprayer. The sprayer head is right here. So I have a 10-inch extension. When the machine stops pushing out the paint, because of the extension, there's still pressure beyond the head. That pressure causes a spit of paint, or two spits, to come out when you start and when you stop. So if I start on the project, it's a delay. You ever watching the news, right? And the guy at the studio says, "Bill, tell us what's going on in the hurricane." Then they flash to the guy on the hurricane set. "Yeah, Bob, this hurricane is horrible." 3 seconds later, the same idea. There's a delay. So don't start and don't stop on the surface you're spraying, especially if it's a flat surface. You want to start off of it, and that's the reason why. But if you're doing a soffit on a house, or you're going to get spits, but you'll never see them. That's just the hidden secret of painting with an airless sprayer. I'll see you on the next frame. I'm going to now blow this door off, and I'm going to put down my sprayer. But if you're spraying and you take a long delay, or if a short delay out in the sun, the paint on the tip is going to gunk up. So this is what you want to do with your sprayer tip. Can you see that? You see the orifice there? Turn the knob on the sprayer to halfway so that none of the holes is showing. Neither the large one nor the small. And so you should have steel in there, just steel. That's what I'm doing. That's the way your sprayer tip handle should look while you're in between spraying. I'll see you on the next frame. I've reduced my pressure again. I'm at 1500. Okay. I want to get in these louvers. And what I wanted to tell you is this. When you take a break, if you're an airless sprayer person, just getting a new airless sprayer, you're painting a house. A lot of folks in Florida buy the house, take down the wallpaper, spray the house themselves. It's a great investment. The baseline sprayer for the professional painter. Some of the tips and tricks that you need to know so you don't ruin your machine is, remember on the last frame when I said to turn the knob of the tip, right? And that helps it store well. Well, I also leave it dipped in water, just so it doesn't dry out. Also, drop it to primer so you get all the pressure out of it. You would turn that knob downward, as I did in the beginning of the video. Turn it downward to release the pressure. Your seals will go a lot, they'll stay intact longer if you don't blow your seals by constantly keeping it under pressure. Okay, plus it's easier to turn when you take the pressure off of the paint inside of the machine. Do you know what I mean? So we drop it down to primer. We turn the pressure all the way down to 0. This way no paint is coming out and there's no pressure on the seals in the system. Okay, let's spray this. Let's give it our spit coat or mist coat. In New York, they actually call this a spit coat. I start off. Okay, nice spit coat. Show them that coat. Show it to them up close. That's it. As I come around and I'm going to hit the sides here. You're not doing it perfect on the first pass. Okay, just back up. That is fine for now, and we'll see you on the next frame when we put our finish coat on it. Let me just show them what's going on here. So I have my outlet, which is this. I have my inlet, which is that, all in the same bucket. Because when I drop it down to primer, straight down, we lose a little paint. And if we have it outside of the source from which we are drawing paint, I'll lose paint. When I drop it into primer, this lets out a few ounces of paint. I don't want to lose it. So I put it into the container from which the paint is being drawn by the inlet. And I have my sprayer tip in murky water. Nonetheless, it's just water with a little paint color on it. Ready to go. Okay. In the midst of spraying, I'm having a chicken massacre going on. I don't know what's going on, but the rooster is always active. And anyway, the chickens are going away now, going to sleep while I'm spraying. Okay, I'm now going to put my second coat on. And I'm just going to put a steady coat, a little different from the first one. The first one I could go a little, I wasn't as perfect on the first as I'm going to be on the second, because now this is it. And so I'm going to spray it mechanically, meaning if I were a machine, I would not be doing this. I would not be pivoting the wrist. There is no pivoting the wrist when you're doing spraying. Here's why. If I'm spraying this area at this angle, you would agree that the point at which the tip from which the paint is coming is a lot closer to the surface now than it is here. And what this will cause is shadows, inconsistencies in layout. So if I do it mechanically, I'm doing it like a car wash, goes back and forth, right? If I pivot the wrist, I'm changing not only the angle, but more importantly, the distance from which the paint comes from the sprayer tip. Could you imagine if I tried to spray this area from here, while at the same time trying to spray this area from here? You would agree that this is a lot closer than that is. And so let's do that. I spray off the door. Right across. Let's do it again. I start off the door and finish off the door. And I let go of the trigger off the door because I don't want the spinning. Okay, let's go quicker. I'm about 12 inches from the surface. And that's my finished coat. Show them the coat. Nice and slowly. Go up close. Go in close. Nice and close. There you go. Just show them that nice and close. Come back toward me. Nice and slowly. Slowly. That's it. Okay. Let's see how it looks when she's dry. Okay, I'm just going to show you from a longer distance the mechanical movement of the arm. Meaning that I'm going to try to keep the tip of the sprayer at the same distance and at the same angle. None of this, and no pulling away. So you get a nice uniform finish. Let's go. I'm rocking back and forth. My pressure's only at 1500. There you go. You want to bring them in close? Now that's a nice coat of paint. And you don't want it too thick, and you don't want it too thin. Too thin, it's splotchy. Too thick, it's runny. You'll get the hang of it if you do it a couple of times with this sprayer. It's well worth the money. If you just bought a house, consider, if you're going to paint yourself, get yourself a sprayer. Okay, the last frame, I'll show you the finish, and we'll be done with it. Thanks for watching my videos. Click on like and subscribe. Look at that beautiful sheen. Yep, can't beat it, right? So we gave it a mist coat. We let it tack up. And then we gave it our second coat. I highly recommend the fine finish tip on the Airless sprayer. Many of you might say, Spencer, what about an HVLP? And I'd say, why do it with an HVLP when you can get this finish a lot quicker? What would you use? So here they are, 3 hours later. The trim will get painted with a brush. I like that finish. How about you? I like that. Let me know what you think. Would you spray them? Or would you waste your time trying to brush these doors?